Hi,
Hi.
David. Ooh, I like your wall. Wow.
Oh, thank you. It's funny. It's usually a little more fancy, but unfortunately, because we're off to vacation soon, it's my room's been back to a guest room. But yeah, there's my pop up, and I always have like sparkly fun lights going, and
Yeah. Is
My Colorado Book Award. But usually, I have all my books behind me too. So
that painted on the wall, or is that no? That's like a
the
like
black.
no the like moon. Okay, no, it's not.
Oh no, that's a mask. It's a. I actually. This is. There's a funny story about it. I can tell you now, or I can tell you later. So,
Tell me now. Let's hear it.
I was in Rome with a friend of mine several years ago, and I saw this in a shop, and it was actually in gold, and I don't like gold because moons should be silver.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I really want that, but it's in gold, so I didn't buy it. And then it's a mask, so there's a little eye hole there, and but it we were walking around, we were miles from the hotel, and I saw it in gold and silver, and said, oh, I gotta have it. So I bought it, and it was too big for my like checked bag, and I was scared it was going to get crushed because it's just paper mache, right?
Uh-huh.
It's very light, it's very delicate. So I had them wrap it as best they could, but you can see how big it is.
Yeah.
So I had to carry it on. I couldn't put it in the overhead bin, so I had a window seat. So I kind of like, you're not supposed to have anything. So I like snuck it between me and the wall, and but I managed to get it through all my connections back to Denver undamaged. So
That,
finding it was a mission, and then getting it home safely was like a whole adventure too. So
wow. I feel like it was meant to be. You went through that much together. You're like bonded for life.
I know it's like one of my favorite things. Okay, let's see if I
Love
can
how
stick my phone up
unwieldy.
here.
Have you ever like worn it? Do you ever wear it?
No,
Okay.
it's not the most practical.
It seems a
So,
little unreal. Like you can't turn your head with that.
yeah, it's one of my favorite things though. So it hangs out there on the wall.
That's awesome. I love it. And do you repaint that wall every time you have a new book come out, or is the wall ever always just that color?
The wall is always black because it's
Okay.
me, but it has the little projector. I don't think you can see it that well with the. Let me turn the light up. It's got like the little galaxy projector to make the
Ooh,
lights. And then when I painted it black, which my partner thought I was insane. But I poured a ton of very fine glitter into the paint.
ooh, nice.
So when the sunlight hits it, it actually is very luminescent. So it's
Oh, that sounds magical. We'll have to. The next live is just going to be at night, and we're just going to have lights shining on it.
yeah.
Um,
When my office is in proper form, it looks like so. All my zooms and stuff I do for promotion, I tend to have a lot of really cool stuff going on. Let's see if I can angle here so you can get that pop up.
Need to work on my backgrounds. I just have like blinds. Next time, slowly getting there.
So
Um,
how are you?
I'm doing well. This is, well, mixed bag, because this is actually my last day of paternity leave. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, I got to go back to work on Tuesday. At least it's a long weekend. I have to go back to work on Tuesday though, and I'm switching with my husband, so he's going to be on paternity leave. But like the real kicker is that like I work from home, so I'm just going to be like hearing them in the other room. And so the big struggle will be learning to not intervene and be like, I'm his time, I had my time, we're all good.
it's got
So
to be hard as a parent, right? Because you're
yeah,
like, you want, you hear that cry, and we have that instinct to go like, what's wrong? How can I help?
yeah. And we've had the conversation several times now during my paternity leave when it's like, he's taking care of her, where I will say something and it's like, I'm also her parent and I deserve the chance to learn some of these things and like calming her and stuff. And it's like, you're right. I can't just like steal her away every time she cries. Like, this is also part of your journey too. And there's also not one right way to do things. I think is the other thing. I'm very like routine oriented, so I'm always like, I get her up at this time. I want her down for a nap at this time, and I know that he is not that way. So I think that will be the other struggle is being like, why isn't she asleep? But we'll have fun. Oh, CW Rogers says that he loves your shirt. Let's
Thank
blow.
you.
Yeah, that is good.
I've got a bit of a Poe Dameron thing. You can see up above. There's the helmet, and
Yeah.
wearing the porg, and I really loved the character of Poe when The Force Awakens came out. And so all of my friends started giving me Poe stuff. And so I actually at one point had like a billion Poe action figures. I'm like, okay, I have to pare down. But there's the little Lego X-Wings up there somewhere too. But
So now you only have 999,999,999.
something like that. There's actually a whole bit in the garage I need to either eBay or donate to the Denver Children's Home. But I kept like the ones that my favorites. I got rid of the rest. So.
How has your summer been? It seems like you've been like at a different event every weekend, which is super cool.
I have oh yeah. So I have a day job too, but it's been quiet the last couple months, which has been nice. It's made it a lot easier to tour for Dark Moon, and it's been a wonderful, crazy summer. So Dark Moon won the Colorado Book Award. That's what the wooden plaque is.
Woo! Congratulations!
Thank you. And it's but yeah, I toured a lot for this book. I didn't get to tour for White Trash Warlock, my debut, because of COVID. And I didn't tour as much for the sequels, but for Moon, I really went all in. So from October until last month, I had like 2-3 events a month,
Wow.
usually in different cities. So it's been nice to be home.
Yeah.
I'm excited because Rogue Community College comes out next month, and I'm only going to tour just a tiny bit. Like I'm going back to New York Comic Con and a few things, but I'm going to try to be home a lot more this time.
Yeah. Is that so? I mean, was it a conscious choice to tour as much as you did for Dark Moon? And you're like, that was way too much, so I'm scaling it back for Rogue? Or
Yeah, I mean, you basically go where you're invited, right? So my publicist got me into like the Tucson Book Festival, and which is an incredible honor and very cool. I got to do a panel with like Cory Doctorow, who's one of those really cool people. I got to do a panel and signing with TJ Klune. So I just had these very, very neat moments, and I wouldn't take it back, but I am tired and I look it.
yes, great.
I'm like, I'm ready for some rest. So I'm definitely want to scale down. Also, touring is really, it's wonderful, but it's very disruptive to writing because you're always displaced. I can't write as well on the road. So I'm hoping to get, now I've got contracts for the next 2 Adam books, and I have a book due on January 1st. So I'm like, I need to be home.
Yeah, which I think I saw you working on that a lot, and through social media. Not that I saw you; I wasn't, looking through your window. But
Stalker.
Yeah. So we can expect the 5th one soon.
So it's Adam book 4. So Rogue Community College is a spinoff. It's out in October. It's over there. There's an arc over there somewhere. It's out on October 15th. And then Redneck Revenant is book 4, and that is out next October. And then Backwoods Banshee is out the following October. And then somewhere in there, I'm hoping that we see the contract finalized for the next Dark Moon book. So
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'm definitely, that one ended on a cliffhanger of sorts. So I'm looking forward to that being continued. Does that
it's more of a hook. It's a hook. It's not a
hook, I guess.
Everything is wrapped up.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it works as a standalone, but there's definitely a lot more to be said, I feel. Do you have like a set number that you think of books there's going to be in that series, or is that just going to go as much as wants to?
It's funny because like with urban fantasy, right, with the Adam Binder series, I think I could get 9 and be happy depending on how well they're received and how much people like them. But I feel like urban fantasy lends itself well to long stories. With high fantasy or epic fantasy, I like things to wrap in trilogies or duologies. So for Rafe and Seth, for their story, I see a trilogy, and that's what we've pitched to my publisher. But if there's interest in people like the world, then I could see other novellas or books about different characters or times in that world that I would love to explore further. Like I'd love to do a young Cormac during his early pirating days. I'd love to do a Cormac book.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm a big like mythology person, so I'd love to even just see like, the gods, the sun and moon, I want to know more about them. If you're ever, so inclined to do so. Um,
You'll definitely get more of what's going on, especially around the sun in book 2. So
okay, that's good to hear. I'll look forward to that. Um, Also, I have to say that I want to know about your flowers, and this is going to sound weird, but are those all in a garden that you have, or do you just go out into the world and find flowers? For
that's
those
my
who
yard.
are on David's Instagram, there's lots of lovely pictures of orchids and other flowers, and yeah, they're stunning.
They're and they're as gothic as they could be too. So I
Yeah.
try to
Oh,
like I specialize in blues and blacks because obviously there's a theme. So, but yeah, I that's my yard. Was lucky enough to buy my house back when they were still affordable in Denver. Now it'd be impossible, and I ended up with way more yard than I wanted, but it's turned out to be a blessing because we have beehives now. So and my job is plants. I don't worry with the bees, but my partner and his friends cover the bees. But yeah, we're trying to get into a little nature preserve. So I have a black Arkansas apple tree, which the apples are like a deep burgundy purple. It hasn't flowered yet. It hasn't fruited yet, but it's only a couple years old. And then I have chicory flowers, which are doing really well right now. They're like beautiful bright blue. And then, but the thing people really like on my Instagram are my irises, especially the black ones. I grow and plant all the different black irises that I can get a hold of. So I'm starting quite the little gothy front garden.
I love that you like even your yard is in theme. Like you've got black walls, you've got like black flowers and apples. That's great.
Well, the rest of the house is like a bright, happy blue, including the exterior. So it's not all like doom and
The
gloom.
goth is contained.
Exactly. We don't want to terrify the neighbors too much. So
It's okay. Yeah, my husband and I were lucky enough to get our house as well, and we painted it this really dark. It's called Moscow Midnight, and so we're
ooh,
the only house in the neighborhood that's not like a bright beige. But that's okay. People knew what they were getting when we moved in. I feel like.
well,
Um,
and my neighborhood's that way too. It's like beige, 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 blue. Like our house is probably the closest thing to the
oh,
color
it's
of the house.
nice. I
And
like it. Yeah.
so we painted it 2 years ago, and it's like it had been khaki green. The people who
Okay.
owned it before painted it khaki green inside and out. Um, I should take you on a little tour. Like we have one really long wall that's a beautiful jewel purple with cool
Ooh.
art, but it's like I could not take any more freaking green. So yeah, last year we had it painted. We're like, I need I'd already fixed the inside. It's like, please hear something really bright and blue and happy.
That sounds fantastic. I need to work on my green thumb and start planting some goth garden stuff. I I planted some flowers and they all just died. But we do have a lime tree, which is has really good limes according to my family. We had a bad year last year where it only produced exactly 13 limes, and there was almost a riot in my family because everyone was like, "Well, what am I supposed to do?" And I was like, "I don't know, buy them." Like you can't. So
You got commitments here, grandbabies and limes, man.
yeah, that's what I'm good for in the family. That's what I provide to my family is just citrus and baby pictures.
We have a peach tree that is exploding, and it's going to be. We're about to go away for 2 weeks, and so my ex, who's house sitting, will be able to enjoy the peaches. I'm frustrated because, like, darn it, I wanted peaches off that tree for so long.
Yeah. Oh my God, peach cobbler. There's nothing better than that. Um, yeah. I, Now I want peaches. I feel like I'm gonna go to the store, make some peaches. Yeah.
Have you ever grilled them? Grilled peaches are delicious.
Grilled peaches. I have not grilled peaches before. Do you
Yeah.
like do anything? You just like throw them on the grill and eat them?
Slice them and grill them,
Okay. I
and
feel
they
like I
work
need to
really.
get. Oh, go ahead.
I do almost like a caprese. Like if you do some burrata or some mozzarella, they can make a cool like grilled peach caprese.
Okay. I need to get more into this like grilling fruit thing. People are telling me to grill watermelons too, which I would have never really thought of, but I guess it's good. I've grilled pineapple. I do like grilled pineapple.
Pineapple's good.
Yeah, but all right, I'm gonna try some peaches. Um, so I don't know if you want to play some games now. That's what I've
Sure,
been
let's play some
doing
games.
with the.
Whatever, we can do whatever you want to do. We've got a couple
Oh no,
people
it's whatever
watching.
you want to do, David.
What do y'all want?
Yeah, what do
A couple
the people want? Let's have the audience demand.
I could do a tour of my tea turtle collection. I have so many t-shirts.
Sure. I'd like to see that. Since you're
I'll do that for
offering.
next time.
Next
I'll
time.
do next time I'll do the REM thing where I wear like 5 and just keep taking ones off.
I do like we're enticing people to come back. Like this isn't a one-off. We have more tricks coming next time. Yeah. So we today, if we are ready to do a game, we're gonna do. I don't know if I actually gave you the name that I was thinking of. Oh, I changed it. I chickened out. I called it Shallow Sea Superlatives. Originally, I was gonna say Slayton Superlatives, but I feel like playing with people's names can be risky business. And these are only characters from Shallow Sea, so it fits. But we have a list.
Uh-oh.
We have this is the same list I gave you, but we'll pretend for the sake of the live that it's a surprise. There's a list of characters from Dark Moon Shallow Sea, and then a list of superlatives that we're going to match them up with. I feel like it kind of fit with your, the next book is college, right? But, I guess in college you don't really do superlatives. That kind of shoots down my thing. That's high school. But we'll pretend for college you do senior superlatives. And we're going to match them up. And if you would be so kind as to give a reason for each one, that would be helpful. So for characters, I'm sure everyone is familiar with Dark Moon Shallow Sea. We've got Wraith. I'm going to try not to butcher any of these. Kinos?
Yeah, Kinos.
Seth, Bishop, Cormac, Geldar, Marin, and Argos. And then for the superlatives, we have most likely to talk your ear off, most likely to have an orchid garden, best shoulder to cry on, biggest drama llama, most likely to put something off until tomorrow, most opinionated, most likely to star in their own show, and then the last one is kind of a throwaway, but I felt like it was deserved, most likely to be a good boy. And I don't know, maybe you don't give it to who I think you're going to give it to. So there we go. Shall we begin?
Of course. All right. How do we start? How does this go? I've never done this.
We'll start
I'm
with...
a high school dropout. I have no idea.
We'll start with most likely to talk your ear off. Who from this list is most likely to talk your ear off?
Probably Rafe, but in a kind of calculated way when he's pulling one of his little street cons.
That's true.
He'd probably babble at you a little bit just because he's like trying to keep up the patter.
Yeah.
As he tries to con you out of something. Like I could totally see him trying to pull off like the golden ring scam or a scam where he's just like, hustling. So he'd be chatty.
That's good. Yeah. So he's like not maybe the natural talk your ear off. He's doing it with a purpose. It's devious. All right. So he gets that.
That's our boy.
All right. Let's go. Let's move on to teal next. Maybe I have enough colors to keep this all like blue? And no, I don't. So eventually we're going to have to stray away from the color scheme. So we have most likely to have an orchid garden, which I put in just for you, but then I realized maybe you had irises and I just decided at some point you had orchids. So we can change that to iris garden.
Well, I have to admit, I have finally, because Colorado is such a dry climate, I have finally given up on orchids, and I have tried every trick in the book. People always give me orchids, and I end up murdering them. I have managed to keep them alive for a year or two, and even gotten them to rebloom, but I've never managed to keep them like for longer than that. It's just too dry here. It just pulls all the moisture out of them. So irises would be easier.
All right, we're going to do iris then.
Probably trying to think because there's a couple of different people this could fit for. But knowing where I know where the character is going, which is
Ooh.
obviously insider information,
Yeah.
I am going to match that to Kinos, which I think is what you put on the list because next to
Oh,
him.
well, these weren't
Because
in a specific order. I just kind of put them somewhere. But so
yeah,
far
I
they're
think
matching up, so I guess that works.
Kinos does have a little bit of a green thumb nature streak. So
Okay. I feel like you could kind of see, by the end, like I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but you could kind of see Kinos he had that flower in him. I don't know how to put that without saying saying anything that will give away the story, which you should all read. Um, all right, so Kinos is going to have an iris garden. Are there irises um, in the universe of Dark Moon Shallow Sea?
yeah, and there should be because Iris it was the goddess of the dawn, right? The Greek goddess,
Okay,
and so
yeah.
she's known for having a rainbow of colors, which is why the flowers got there. And because the world of Dark Moon Shallow Sea is not our world, but the gods are the so for the people who don't haven't read it, it's the Greek Titans, and this is where they went after they were banished from our planet. So there is a certain amount by their children. So there is a certain amount of cultural crossover and cross pollination, and then there's a little bit of drift. Both not all the gods made it, not all the gods survived their war with the demons, but culturally speaking, they did bring things from our world. So yeah, it would make perfect sense to have irises.
Okay. So you heard it here first. That's canon. There's an iris garden. Um, Best shoulder to cry on.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Geldar for this because
Okay.
Geldar, despite so Geldar is an inquisitor and his role in his church, the Church of Hyperion, is very sort of to get information to expose truths. But when he does care about somebody as he cares for Seth, who's like a surrogate son to him, he is incredibly supportive and fatherly in ways that you wouldn't expect that character to be. Because again, his day job is pretty dark, but as like a when he cares for somebody and outside of that context of being an inquisitor, he is a very caring person. So he's very listening and supportive.
Cool. I was not expecting that one. So, but it fits. When you explain it that way, it fits. Um, Biggest drama llama.
Probably Marin, because Marin is such a she's got Marin runs a gang runs she cares for a gang of street children and urchins that she is sort of very dramatic in her when she's conning somebody for money, and all of her purpose of being a con artist and being a thief is to support her kids and to keep her kids alive. But she always does it with this over the top flair sometimes, like her out just everything from her outfits to her cons, they always tend to run like a little bit, loud and gregarious. So she's the drama llama, I think.
I mean, yeah, I feel like a drama always helps a con, get everyone distracted, get them looking somewhere else.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's how we meet her. Is she shows up when she first shows up in the book? She's doing a very dramatic distraction bait and switch. So
cool, cool, cool. All right. Moving right along, we've got most likely to put something off until tomorrow.
that's a good question. I think it might surprise you because I think I might have to go with Argos on this one because he is still kind
Oh,
of he's kind of a puppy, and he's still very young. So Argos, again for those of you watching, is a hound of Hyperion. He is his whole breed of dog is this massive hound that was bred to hunt down the gods' enemies, the demons. But Argos is a puppy, and so while he's still massive, he's small for his breed and type. But so because of that, he's a little, he's not as obedient as he should be. He doesn't do quite what he's told when he's supposed to, like a good puppy.
but you know what? We love him for that. We
Oh,
love him
he's
for that.
adorable.
He
People love
brings, yeah,
Argos.
he brings the adorable energy to the book. Um, all right,
When he's
most
not lighting things on fire.
when it only takes away a little bit. He's still adorable. Um, Most opinionated.
Oh my gosh, who do we have left?
You. This is where we start running into problems. Seth, Bishop, and Cormac.
Oh, the bishop. Easy.
Okay.
Easily the
Yeah,
bishop.
that one's a giveaway.
Yeah, she's the bishop is very firm in her faith, which makes her very powerful as a knight of Hyperion, but she's also she is absolutely lawful good, right? She knows black and white and does not think outside of that context.
She is great, though. I did like her character a lot.
People do love the bishop.
Yeah.
I see her in the movie played.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see her played by Angela Bassett, right? She just has this very no nonsense.
Oh, I do like that. Maybe I should have asked you to fan cast. Well, I guess it wouldn't be a fan cast. What would you call it? Author cast? Author cast?
Yeah, it's still fan casting. I have no control if it ever happens. So, but yeah, we can do that. We can do some more fan casting after we do the game if you like.
Yeah, I do enjoy a good fan cast. All right, most likely to star in their own show. You only have 2 left, so maybe we should think about this. There's 2 left. Most likely to star in their own show, and most likely to be a good boy.
Cormac would be the star in his own show because he is. And again, really want to write a Cormac prequel novella or novel about young bi Cormac running around doing piratey things, like when he first runs off and to be a pirate because again a little bit of dramatic. He would also be a drama queen. Yeah, he was like a good runner-up for the drama queen because he's got a little bit of flair to his behavior as a pirate. Yeah,
and who doesn't love pirate books, right? Like who doesn't love a fantasy pirate?
My friend James Persichetti is working on one right now, and his graphic novel, which is a gay Arthurian retelling called A Tale of Two Knights, just came out, and he's almost done with his pirate book, and every time we text, I'm like, is it done? Is it done? Is it done? I need you to get this finished into your agent. I'm so tired. He's probably so sick of me hounding him. I'm so excited.
Have you read any of it? Has he let you read any of it?
No, it's still baking. But he and I, we talk a lot, and so I know a lot of the core of the plot and the characters, and I'm just like,
more, gimme please. So then that leaves us with most likely to be a good boy as Seth. And do you think this was a fitting end?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Seth is our golden retriever character, and people love him.
I do love him. Broken. Especially, where we ended up with Seth, I love Seth. Because Kinos was my original baby, but then, things happen. I'm not going to spoil anything. So Seth all the way, golden retriever. Since we're here, do you want to fan cast the rest? We've got Angela Bassett on the cast. I'm eager to know, and you can tell me if these are people you envisioned do you envision people while you're writing, or are they completely separate?
These characters are really tough. Like Seth, Rafe, and Kinos are tough because you know about Baldur's Gate 3, right? I think everybody who's any kind of a gamer knows about Baldur's Gate 3. I first started envisioning these characters when playing Baldur's Gate 1.
Okay.
And the thing with Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 is, and as well as the Icewind Dales, which use the same engine, is you could make a custom portrait. And if you went out and found like an image on the internet and you sized it correctly, you could make a portrait for your character. And if you played in multiplayer, but by yourself, you could make more than one character on Baldur's Gate. So I was able to make Rafe and Kinos, or Rafe and Seth, and play them through. So these characters have been in my head for a long, long time. Yeah. I like to joke that Rafe is my feral firstborn and is now finally moved out of the basement in my brain and is paying rent, which he should be. It's like he was get out, please. I want this book out of my head and into the world. But they originally had very locked in images in my brain from those days back in video games. And now whenever I'm watching TV or movie or something, I'm like, ooh, that'd make a good Rafe, or that'd make a good Seth. Yeah.
Is that art? That would be art. Something you could ever share? Probably not, because that's Baldur's Gate. That belongs to Baldur's Gate. But I would be interested to see your creations of the characters.
Well, what's funny is back then there were internet forums, they may still exist, I don't know, that people would go out and they would take fantasy book covers and they would crop the image to fit it because you had to make 2 or 3 different sizes to import it correctly. And so there were all these great sites where all those old Michael Whelan fantasy book covers, like, so there were hundreds and hundreds of images you could find, and they would sort them by like L for human, male, female. So it was a really fun way to look at all that fantasy art and envision, what would your cover be like? What would your character look like on the cover of a book?
Yeah.
And I like not having characters. So you notice, like, when I work with my cover artist at Blackstone, Sarah Riedlinger, who's phenomenal. She, that's one of the first things she asked me. She's like, do you want models? Do you want characters? So that, yeah. When I'm writing romance, yes, but when I'm writing fantasy, no, because I want a certain amount of, I want the reader to be able to get their own vision.
That is
so to go.
tricky.
Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that's always tricky to me because, like, I feel like I do like covers. Like, there are certain people who have very beautiful fantasy covers that have people on them and riding dragons and all that stuff, and those are always very entertaining. But there's like a mystique to this cover. I mean, I personally discovered you by seeing this cover and being like, oh my god, like that looks like a book I want to read, just like the palette and the mystery of it. I think I even messaged you being like, this cover, and you're like, get the hardback. And I did.
Well, not to be too forward, but she does look good naked because it has this beautiful black leather effect Sarah did.
Yeah. You're not going to be able to see anything about it.
No, not in this lighting. It's really pretty, y'all, basically. Yeah. Look at that. And then Jake Shandy, he designed like the Dagger bookmark for me and the map. He did the map and he does all my promo art. He runs a couple of really cool web comics. So Jake designed the map for me. I did my horrible sketch and sent it to him, and then he made it all pretty.
Here's the map for anyone who you can't see. Yeah, that is a great map. I do love a map too.
Yeah. And I've actually bought a plotter and printed the maps on canvas. I should send you one.
Yeah, please.
So for promo, I have cloth maps because, again, gamer, and like the old Baldur's Gate box sets would come with it. And like, I want a cloth map.
Do you distress them as well? Like crumple them up a few times, burn the edges?
Didn't crumble them up, but we soak them in tea, so it's actually a whole process. They come out of the plotter on like in a block of 12, and then we have to use a fabric cutter to slice the canvas up because it's thick. You can't tear it very easily. Okay. And then we give each one a tea bath. So we make the right. Like we have a whole assembly line of friends and people that will help with it, and then they go we brew the tea just the right strength or the right amount. They go in for the right amount of time, like 2 minutes per map, and then they get hung on a line. Like it's a whole little process to make.
Serious business.
They're a pain. The plotter alone is the biggest pain in the neck. It's this gigantic printer. I call it Vader. It's like 5 feet wide. Ugh, it's such a nightmare, but it makes a beautiful product. So
yeah, in the end, it's worth it. And we have to send these out. I'd love one if you're offering.
Oh yeah, I'll send you a bookmark too. Private message me on Instagram or whatever your address, so I don't or you got me. Yeah, email it to me. Yeah. As soon as I'm back in the country, I'll mail it out. So back to fan casting. So my current leads for Rafe and Seth are Zach Nielsen and Chase Leafield. If you watched the show Wolfpack that was on last year, Sarah Michelle Gellar produced it. It was a teen werewolf.
See these people.
Zach Nielsen and Chase Leafield, and they were both on Wolfpack. So if you just look up Wolfpack cast, you'll see them. They were like really quick fits. Like, ooh, that'd make a good. And Chase particularly would make a great Seth. He's got the blonde hair. He's got a certain amount of like. He's just got the right look.
Yeah, I think I'm not looking at the right Chase.
LIE.
Okay, I see it. I was looking at someone who's posting like hiking pictures. They're like, that was not. Okay.
It doesn't hurt too that he spends like half the show shirtless, and Seth is supposed to have like a really Seth is pretty stacked, and Chase
Yeah.
has the body for that. He's got
Yeah.
like the bulk.
That always helps, you know.
It might be Zach Nelson. I might have been mispronounced. Yeah, it's Zach Nelson, just like
Okay.
it sounds.
Okay. That makes I'm still not Zach.
With a K. Zack. And if you do Zach Nelson Wolfpack,
I'll do
he'll
that.
show
Yeah.
he'll
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm seeing older gentlemen who I don't think are
Yeah, no.
okay.
That's,
There
that's
we
not
go.
what we're going
Okay.
for.
Much. Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
And then I'm kind of thinking for I can't remember if it's the actor's name or the character. Let me look. He's the lead in Chucky. Zachary Arthur, he plays Jake Wheeler on the Chucky TV show. I think he would be a really good Kinos.
Okay. I could see that. Yeah, that kind of fits the mental image.
Yeah, and he's what I like about like he's openly out too. I'd love to have actual out, and I don't know about Chase or Zach or their orientation, but I would love to have gay actors play these characters if possible. So
That'd be nice. Did you struggle? Not to. We'll come back. Did you struggle at all with? I feel like this is squarely an adult fantasy, but I feel like with young protagonists, there's always a danger of getting pegged as like young adult fantasy.
well, what I think happens, and you may have run into the same stuff with your work, is that there really aren't adult fantasies with LGBTQ characters, right? And so what happens is that automatically sticks us in YA for some reason. It's also a little bit shorter, which I think is like Moon is only 100,000 words. I wanted it to be very tight. So it's only 100K. And I think that can also kind of lend it to this mindset that it might be YA, but all of my work is really new adult. My characters tend to be 23 across all of my series and genres. But because I grew up very religious and I grew up very rural and sort of sheltered because of that, my characters tend to inherit some of that. So my characters will sometimes be like let's look at Rafe. Rafe is street smart, but he grew up in a temple. He grew up very sheltered. And so while he's been surviving on the streets, he's incredibly book smart and he's a lot of street smart, but when it comes to romance and dating, he's a moron. and that was my experience. Like I was a very bookish kid. I grew up very rural, but and that part of that's a facet of being a little bit older and being gay too is when you go out in the world, your parents don't teach you. Nobody taught me how to date, and nobody certainly taught me how to date guys. So I was 23 and entering the gay scene in Denver and being utterly freaking clueless about, so really kind of like more like 18 when it came to that aspect of my life. And you see like the Adam Binder series, you really see that in White Trash Warlock. Adam is, people are like, oh man, he's so YA in some ways. And it's been nice with Adam because now that I'm writing book 5, he's grown up. He's now where he's supposed to be mature wise, which is what had to happen for me, is I had to close that gap, which I think I have mostly. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. Shall we continue?
Sure.
Who's next? Bishop, you already said.
Yeah. Cormac's a tough one because I want somebody who's like, I try not to spoil. I can't say anything. He's got to be like Will Kemp from that terrible Van Helsing movie with Hugh Jackman, right? Somebody's like, I want to.
We wait. I have to stop you there for a second. Yes, terrible, but also that movie defined my adolescent years, so it has a very special place in my heart, and I will not accept slander of Van Helsing.
I run a lot of Dungeons and Dragons in the Ravenloft setting, which is the gothic horror setting with werewolves and vampires and all that, and I use that soundtrack every time. So
amazing soundtrack. I think there was a period of my life where I also grew up in a religious household, and one of the things was that I wasn't allowed to watch TV like during the school week. But we had this like this is gonna my age is gonna start showing. We had this like portable DVD player that had the little fold up screen that was probably like 3 inches wide. And I hid it in my room, and just every day I would watch the Van Helsing movie just in my room with the door closed, and that was just like the best thing to me. And I don't know. So that movie has a very special place in my heart. I recognize that it's horrible, but it's horrible.
You're cracking me up saying that that's showing your age. That's the funniest thing I've ever heard. Trust me. I grew up before VCRs were a thing, so don't worry.
Okay, so we'll get. All right, yeah, I could see him as a Cormac. He has that kind of rugged look to him.
Yeah. Somebody like that, right? He needs to be a little shaggier, a little rougher. Cormac has lived hard since he ran away to be a pirate. So he but I'd love somebody like along those lines.
Yeah.
For him.
Privacy will age you, but often yeah. Okay. Geldar.
Geldar needs. I say Geldar. He needs to be older. He needs to be. So in my brain it's somebody like a Ben Kenobi type, right? So Alec Guinness. He's like white hair. So you want one of those older like actors. I don't have anybody particularly in mind off the top of my head, but I envision him like that. Like he's kind of slowed down. He should definitely be somebody who is priestly and fatherly, but like mid to late 60s. So we're looking for somebody who's definitely past his prime, but still sharp as a tack.
Yeah. We'll say casting to be determined. I have to read out Trip. He commented, I bought myself my first VCR at like 6 or 7. First of all, good on you for having like money autonomy at 6 or 7 and then withers to dust. So what I'm hearing now is maybe I shouldn't comment on my age. Although I will say that there's the whole spectrum. There's a bunch of younger people on this app. I remember buying my first DVD, and that was The Phantom Menace. And I got the the 2-disc deluxe edition or whatever, and that was like the first DVD that I owned. So good times. Is there like an equivalent these days? Like, I guess you don't really buy physical media as a child anymore.
No, but it is kind of coming back, I think, because we see streaming services cut. We just started watching The Nanny because I never watched it. That was my period of not watching TV and stuff. So my partner grew up with it, and so I just got the DVD series, and because we couldn't find it streaming anywhere. And if I really love a show like Farscape or Star Trek Discovery, I'll buy the DVDs because I will want to go back and watch it at some point. And now it's getting really good. Like something can be streaming and then ripped away in no time. Yeah. Like, hey, I own that movie. You're like, no, you didn't. So if I love something, I will buy the physical media just to still be able to go back to it when I want to.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. My CD collection is insane. I'm one of the few people I feel like who's still buying physical music. Well, I guess that's not true. People buy a lot of vinyls these days. But
vinyl's making a comeback. And Tripp says that he had to buy himself his first puppy too, which makes me sad.
That is very sad. All right, we've got 2 left. Marin.
Oh boy. What was the girl from Flash? Candace? My brain is not working today. Let me Google. I always thought she'd make a great...
Candace Payton?
Yeah, I think I wanted to say that, but I thought she would be such a great Marin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Candace Patton.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. This is a good cast. We'll contact them after the live is done. And then I guess never mind. There was only one because you can't really cast in Argos. Maybe you can. I don't know. Do you have a TV dog in mind?
No, but I think what you have to do is you have to get like a golden retriever type or a golden lab, and then use the CGI to make them bigger, right? Because Argos should be very much like he's a good fire pupper. He's a good boy, you know?
Even though he didn't win, most likely to be a good boy. But that's okay. We all know in our hearts that he is. It's okay.
Well, yeah. If we're gonna do Candace, maybe we should do Grant Justin for Cormac. Like that's a weird bit of casting in my brain, but that'd be fun. Like to let's get a little Flash reunion going on.
okay. I have to point out that I have not known a single person you've named. And I feel like I'm not very well versed on actors and in the popular sphere anymore.
No, I think it's Wolfpack was so obscure and it only made it for one season, but it was. I really liked the gay characters in it for one, and the actors had and Zach's character Cyrus was gay, which was cool, and so my brain was immediately like, ooh, there's like a storyline I want to follow. So
Okay, that makes sense. All right. That was a fun
it
thing.
ended on a cliffhanger, though. Just to warn anybody who does end up watching it, like every storyline and plot line in Wolfpack ended on a cliffhanger, and the show was canceled, which I hate because we'll just never know how it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that too. Yeah, there have been way too many shows like that. I am happy that like my favorites though have tended to be finished. Like I really loved the show Alias. That was like my first like this is my show. I'm not just watching this with my parents type of show. And it did have kind of a messy ending, but it did get an ending, which I appreciated because that could have been really bad. Did you ever watch Alias?
I did. It's funny because it makes me think of the things to come with J.J. Abrams not knowing how to stick a landing.
Yeah. Which I feel like it worked out in shows though, because he generally just started the show and then other like showrunners took over. So I feel like sometimes they got better endings than he would have perhaps given them.
Well, I will die angry about Rise of Skywalker. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So.
We don't discuss.
I really liked The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. It's too sad they never made a third one. So.
Yeah, so they made Rogue One. They just never completed the trilogy though. So it's
yeah.
I'm personally a fan of Rogue One. I don't know if you are, but
I am. I really liked the darker side of it, and I honestly, my only real critique of, and this is very personal, I just wish they'd stopped and not done the whole CGI Leia thing at the end with Vader.
Yeah.
And that's the scene that everybody really loved, was like the whole bit with Vader and the CGI Leia. I'm like, I didn't need that.
And I always find that really creepy when they use the CGI to like make just like hire an actor. Like,
well, even with like The Mandalorian, when they brought back Mark Hamill and de-aged him, I mean, Sebastian Stan is right there on Disney's contract. Just use him.
Like, yeah, come on. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of those habits that I'm like, oh, every time it pops up, I'm just like, uncanny valley. Like, this is actually having the opposite effect on me. I'm like, whoa, can we leave them behind?
Totally with you.
Yeah. Do you want to play our second game or it's
Sure.
you're all gamed out? I guess it's less of a game and more of a, ever since I did my live with Trip, every author I play some version of Marry, Fuck, Kill. So in this case though, when it's fantasy, it's gotta be Lay, Slay, Wedding Day.
I'd say that's a very Trip game. So
yeah. And it works out. I was with
waiting to see if he responds to that. See if he's still here.
Oh, Trip, you liked Alias too? Oh, that's great. My I don't know if I should say this. My daughter's name is Sydney, and we did not name her after the character Sydney Bristow from Alias, but I really want to, for her first Halloween, put on the red wig and have her do the Alias thing, but I might be getting overruled on that. So maybe there'll just be like a separate photo shoot with just me and her. But so yeah, Lay, Slay, Wedding Day. Our first round, we're gonna do Odd Little Guys, which I don't know that this actually super applies to these people because they're not so little, but we're gonna have Death from Discworld, Jarnathan from D&D Honor Among Thieves, and Admiral Akbar from Star Wars A New Hope.
Oh my gosh, this is fun. So I'm gonna slay Jonathan because I just the bird thing does not work for
Okay.
me.
Okay, that makes sense.
Um,
Okay, right at the bat, you were just bringing out the sleigh. You're like off with this person.
yeah, just elimination, and then I think you have to lay with death because I mean, come on, that's like the bragging rights
That's
alone,
yeah,
right?
that was poetic. Lay with death.
And then, of course, you got to marry Admiral Akbar because Admiral Akbar like has this giant ship, and he's
Yeah.
like in charge, and he's got his son who showed up in the aforementioned Rise of Skywalker. So yeah, I think the Mon Calamari
Yeah.
trip.
Careful though, it's a
God.
trap.
Yeah, Trip is calling me out for my gothiness for wanting to lay with death. So
Uh, but there you go. I am surprised though that given your black wall, your black irises, your black apples, you didn't marry death. But maybe that would be too much. Like at that point, I mean, death knows they're gonna outlive you, so they get
well,
everything.
and the death in the Terry Pratchett world has. Well, I mean, we could get along. He has an affinity for cats, right? But he doesn't really comprehend so much about humanity. Like when he makes the towel, but the towel is just the image of a towel, so he doesn't really can't use it. Like there's just those kind of things where he doesn't quite get. So he's too distant from humanity for those things. So
That's a good reason. Whereas, you can get past Admiral Akbar not being human. Um, okay, and then round two, we have 90s space hunks from TV. We have John Crichton? I don't know how to pronounce that.
It's Crichton. Oh,
Okay.
it's very much Crichton.
It's very much Crichton. I haven't seen Farscape, if you can tell. You mentioning it, I looked it up, and it does look like a show I would enjoy because I did really love both Babylon 5 and Deep Space Nine. I feel like it's kind of in that realm of 90s.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But it is interesting though because it's kind of like Buffy. It's sort of a product of its time.
Mhm.
And I've tried to go back and get other people into it recently, and they're like, they don't connect with it the way that I do.
Trip
but yeah,
says
giant.
all caps watch Farscape, so I feel like
Yeah.
I'm being told.
Yeah, definitely watch Farscape, but just promise me this: you cannot skip anything in the first season because so many things will come back. But the first season it's like Next Generation. It's a little rough, so just stick with it.
Yeah.
But little things from season one will come back later and pay off. So you can't, even though it's not necessarily the strongest, you have to watch it.
Yeah, I never skip anyway. Like I'm not a person who skips the prologue or anything. Like I go into things assuming that they're gonna come back, so I should have knowledge. So anyway, so that's the first one. And then we have John Sheridan, well, from Babylon 5, a lot of Johns, and Benjamin Sisko from Deep Space Nine.
Oh wow, this is a tough one. So I'm gonna marry Crichton because Crichton, he's a scientist and he's brilliant and he's funny. And the arm porn in
Ooh.
Farscape
Who
is
doesn't love arms?
yeah, no, the Crichton big old crush there from that time period of my life. And let's see, I didn't connect that strongly with John Sheridan, but he was a cool guy.
Okay.
So probably Lay, and then unfortunately I'll have to let Cisco go be with the Prophets.
No. Okay.
I
That's
know.
fair. Fair enough. I'll have to watch Farscape and see if I have the same reading as you.
Just get through the arm porn. That's all you need.
I'm gonna make a shirt that just says "I'm here for the arm porn." Wear that with me at all times. Then, cool. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm glad we had some rounds of Lay Slay Wedding Day. Next time when we do our, what are we doing next time? I feel like we had a plan. Oh, you're gonna give us a tour of your
of the art of the house. Yeah.
yeah, and your turtles. We'll yeah, we'll do that again and have more people. Well, thank you very much, David, for joining me.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, we're about to reach that hour mark. Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I'm glad I got to meet you. I've been admiring your work from far. I have to say that I have not read the Adam Binder series yet, but it is high up on my TBR list.
If you need, it's actually really good on audio. So if you need something to do while you're doing chores or sitting with the baby, Debbie Druid, the third one, won Best of Audible that year. So
Wow.
and my narrator is a amazing award-winning Shakespearean actor who does just a great job. So Michael does an awesome, and he's actually the same. He did the same for Dark Moon, and he's my voice at Blackstone. So
Okay.
they even brought him in for a short story I published in an anthology with them. So he's always, and he's done Rogue Community College. So yeah, like
Nice. Yeah. I'm usually listening. I'm usually reading a book and listening to a book at the same time. So right now I'm trying to get through the Brandon Sanderson Way of King. What's the name of the series? Way of Kings.
yeah, the Way of Kings.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
catch up before the fifth one comes out in December. I'm on Oathbringer right now. I think I have like 4 hours left, so I'm getting close. So maybe my next one will be Adam Binder.
You're gonna make it. I'm on Lev Rosen's Lavender House, which I've been wanting to read for a long time, and it's got such a fantastic noir voice. It is, Lev is one of those authors I really love because he can move between genres and age ranges and stuff really elegantly, and I think that's cool when you can do that, when you have that kind of skill and versatility. The only bummer is it's set just post World War II, and the main character has been outed and in a police raid on a gay bar, and so it does create this, like, as a historical thing, it's totally true, like, right, and it's very well done, very well captured. At the same time, it's kind of like, I'd prefer not to have to go back there in my brain and deal with that topic,
Yeah. All right. It's a pleasure. I don't know if you can hear Sydney waking up.
Your supervisor's calling.
Yeah. So I will be running off to take care of that. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Bye, David.
Bye.